Welcome to the Monday Crypto Crash live stream. So, if you've been living under a rock or haven't checked your portfolio, which I know everybody has, we've had some pretty negative price action. So today we're going to talk about just how bad it is, how bad it could potentially get, and of course, why it's out there. And then, of course, we're going to take a look at the lessons learned and the things that we should actually take away from this so we can be better for next time. Because let me tell you, not everything goes down forever. Not everything goes up forever. So today, as you may have guessed, is a pretty bad day for price action. Now, again, I have to stress this. It's all how you look at this. And we talked about this in the channel many a times. If you're new to the channel, welcome. If you're not new, you know what I'm going to say. When we take a look at the price action of the market, you can take a look at this and go, this is the worst day of all time, or this is massive opportunity. And there's always a different ways to look at it, depending on your circumstances and just how far down the rabbit hole that you fell. So for me, I look at this and I'm like, I mean, it's not the greatest day of all time. Of course, I'd like it to go up forever. But if you're like me and you think to yourself, boy, I wish I could have accumulated a little bit more. I wish there would have been more time. This is the day that you were looking out for. I don't want you to get too worried and too stressed out. We'll go over why that is. So today, we lost roughly $1 trillion in market cap. I think we were at, I want to say 2.7 at some points. Now we're at 1.8 trillion market cap. Quite a dip. I'm not going to call it a dip. I'm going to call it a crash because that's exactly what it is. And we'll even talk about the definition if you want to talk about that. But Bitcoin itself has been fluctuating around 49,000, 50,000. And I expect it to really not to really take a tumble, but to have negative price action moving forward. Ethereum, actually, what I would like to talk about is over 7 days. Let's just see how bad it's been. Bitcoin, this is why I have over 70% of my crypto net worth in Bitcoin for days like today. Yes, it's bad at 28%, but look at Ethereum, BNB. Solana is the big loser out of the top 10 by far, 41%. I mean, almost 42% Solana is down over 7 days. Let that sink in. And as I'm talking about these things, just know that I'm with you. I own Solana. I own BNB. I own Bitcoin. I own Ethereum. So it's not like I'm rooting for one to go down the most. I'm just calling the facts the facts. XRP, congratulations, 27%. Good job for you guys. Only down 28%, 7 days. Toncoin, 27 down. Let's see. And just down the line, we can see that's just been a brutal couple of days. And that's okay. So we know that we're down. So when I talked about this on the thumbnail, the title, I said crash because somebody corrected me this morning. They said, Rob, this is not a dip. This is a crash. And I'm like, I think you're right. So shout out to Stocks Prism for putting this nice little explainer, pullback, correction, bear market, and crash. Now this is for stock market parameters. We are not the stock market. However, we can take some of the lessons learned over there and say, yeah, I think about a 30% would actually do it. So that's where we're at over 7 days. And the sentiment, I don't think, is very greedy as far as the fear and greed index. I think people are very fearful. I don't know how fearful they are, but this is what we see. And if we take a look also at CoinGo Live, the price dropped since the all-time high. Bitcoin is down almost 32%. Let me refresh this. Maybe it might be down even more. Yeah, almost 33% Bitcoin. Ethereum is down almost 55% from its high. USDT is a stable coin. All these stable coins don't count. 43% for BNB. Solana from its all-time high is almost down 58%. Sweet Mary and Joseph. XRP is down 87% from its all-time high. That was like 6 years ago. So yeah, 54%. Ton is only down 40%. I mean, it just is what it is. So we know that our market is doing bad, or is negative price action. Again, it's how you look at it. Do you look at this as like, ooh, this is a good time to buy, or ooh, I just probably maybe we'll do nothing. It's okay to do nothing. That's fine. Just let things pass. And people say, well, I don't want to lose anything. You don't lose until you sell. So that's up to you. I can't tell you what to do. I can't give a financial advice. But looking at the S&P 500, wow, look at that opening. Woo! So for TradFi folks, and if you're from TradFi, welcome. I know this is concerning. You're negative 3.5%, but it'll be okay. I think you're going to make it. And we can see that the opening today, the 5th of August, felt like a brick. And now we're back up a little bit. So we'll see how it goes. But remember, there's this thing, this store of value type of thing, which people talk about. And they talk about that in Bitcoin. They're like, hey, I thought it was a store of value. What the heck just happened? Well, I've said it before, and I think a lot of people have said it's a long-term store of value. It's not a short-term store of value. I mean, it's very volatile. It's only been around, it's 2009, so come on. But even gold today took a drop, and it's almost down 2%, and that's in the last 24 hours. So I know people say, but gold's an awesome store of value, and it's a hedge against inflation. Well, not so much. I mean, if we can take a look right here, even gold is actually plummeting. The markets become irrational. People get scared, and that's okay. So what does that mean for volatility? Well, if you take a look at the CBOE, the volatility index, it's looking like recession time, folks. And we'll get into why recession is not the big bad word that everybody thinks it is. It's just a natural cycle of things. So in the last one day, not too bad. But you can see here in the last 5 days, look at that volatility index. Wow. That's a straight shot, as we've seen over here. And if you don't think there's been volatility, I don't know what to tell you. But over a month, 6 months, you're like, what the heck is going on? What happened? How about a year? How about 5 years? There we go. When was the last time this volatility index was this high? March 2020. Remember those days? Oh, there was this great thing called, I don't know if you heard about this one. It was called the coronavirus. And it made everybody freak out. And people were going absolutely insane. And the money printers went on. And then everything was okay because we got stimmy checks. I would not be surprised if those money printers go on and we see more rate cuts. But we'll figure that out. That's not for me. That's for Jerome and the Federal Reserve to figure that out. And then, of course, if we max out, when has the volatility index been super high? Just like you'd expect. March 2020, 2011, 2010, there was a nice little crash over there. And then, of course, the Great Recession, 2008 and 2009. And, of course, what do those correspond to? Recession, probable recession. So that's what we have right there. But the big question is why? Why is this happening? Well, we talked about this a couple of days. We talked about this last week. We had some negative employment numbers. I think we went from 4.1% to 4.3%, and people are freaking out. People will also say that, those numbers could be deflated and actually inflated as they go to adjust them as time moves on, which I can see so much. But also, it comes down to Japan. And I'm not going to pretend that I'm a macroeconomist. I'm not going to say that I'm Peter Zeihan, because I think Peter Zeihan should just stay over on that side. We'll stay over here on the crypto side, as he says that Bitcoin is going to go, when it was at 16,000, it was going to drop 17,000. But I'm going a little bit too far. So what's going on here? So this was a great post from Jonathan Wu. Jonathan Wu, he's an early stage investor over at Asylum Ventures, and gets into some of the early crypto projects and whatnot. So he lays it out pretty well in this little tweet storm that he had. So I'm just going to go over this. And he says, it seems unintuitive that a small 25 basis point interest rate hike in Japan would spike all the risk assets. Well, here's why. Quick explanation of the carry trade. This is where you have carry traders who they borrow at zero interest rates and invest in something with higher than zero returns. So what they're doing in Japan is they're borrowing yen at 0%. So they haven't had any interest, right? They weren't really too concerned, even though they were in a recession, I believe. Correct me in the comment section. For some reason, they hadn't raised it until recently. So they borrow yen at 0%. They buy an asset outside Japan that yields more than nothing. They take profit. So what could you do with that? Here's a great example. So they take yen, they borrow against it at 0%. And they buy something like an Airbnb property, which yields them 7%. I know a little bit something about that. Me and the wife do that. Very, very profitable as time goes on. And that yields 7%. So you got 7% minus 2% is 5% of free money, right? Because even if the variable rate is 2%, you're still making money. And they're doing that over and over and over again. The problem is right now is you can do that, but when they start to raise rates, they're like, hey, margin call, pal. You borrowed this at 0%, now it's at 2%, and now the value isn't worth it. We want you to pay that money back. So what happens? So the Bank of Japan is being forced in tighter monetary policy to protect Japanese people suffering under inflation. which they're going through. And of course, that's the whole thing of why you raise interest rates, right? Again, I'm not going to go deep in this. I really like to, but essentially, if you have too much money in circulation, that means inflation. You want to have a regression. You want to take that money back because you printed too much, and Japan printed too much, just like America does. But in America, it's a little bit different because we're the world reserve currency, and that's what we do here. We love to print. Japan's like, hey, there's too much inflation. We are importing a lot of different things because we're not a nation that can build a lot of things by ourselves. So we import a lot of things. So we print money. We print too much money. Now we're going to regress. Now we're going to start to raise the rates. People are like, hey, you can't do that because I just took all that money that I borrowed from you guys and put it into other things. Like, well, you got to pay us back. And then that's essentially what's going on. I linked this in the description. You can go over it. This is what's happening, and it's a big problem. And it's going to affect global markets because we're not just in a fishbowl. It kind of radiates out. So Jonathan Wu says it right here. The Bank of Japan was the piggy bank for the world's assets. The piggy bank just closed, and now Max paying. So that's essentially it in a nutshell. I hate to break it to you, but that's just pretty much how it is. And again, how do you look at this? You look at this and go, this is the worst day of all time. Or you say, you know what? Just like in 2007, 8, and 9, when there was a massive crash. We got a friend named David here in Texas, and he kept talking about there's something going on in the economy. I'm not going to make many deals. I'm going to take some profits along the way. I'm going to see what happens. Then as everything crashed, he bought up everything. And he was buying. It was commercial. It was private real estate. Dude, great. Pennies on the dollar. That's generation wealth right there. So if you have anything on the sidelines, maybe this is the time to do things. But I will just say like this. As people are talking about the markets, they're going to be like, don't worry, bro. It's going to be okay. And we're not going to keep going down. It's just a pullback. It might be. I have no idea, honestly. It might just be a massive crash pullback and everything starts to go up from here. I don't think so, but I've been wrong. I've been wrong many times. You're going to see this chart and it's going to get annoying. And they're going to say, no, we're still in a bull market. And, remember this? This is in June 2016. We had a 38%, 30%, 33 going into 2017. And we did all this stuff. And I'm like, I guess so. But I would preface it with this. During that time of June 2016, 2017, and into early 2018, the market was doing pretty damn good. And we take a look, this is the S&P 500, taking a look at all. If we go back to 2016 around September, look at that line. Pretty much went straight up because we were doing pretty well in the stock market. S&P 500 hit all-time highs. There was no talks of recession. And then in 2018, then it had a little bit of a pullback. And if we actually take a look, let's go in the next one. This is what I think people should be talking about more so. This is in 2021. And yeah, we had 25, 22, 26, 65% drops between the April to the November next high. But you got to remember, a lot of people who stuck around for that is very tough. And you can do it, but I'm just warning you. I'm just telling you that this is the market that you're in. And if we take a look at 2021, though, again, that was a great time for traditional markets as well. And they didn't do any kind of crazy pullback like we did because the traditional market was doing just fine. And it wasn't until around the fourth quarter of 2021 that we saw a big dump off because all of the smart money, I don't want to call it smart money, I just want to call it big money, they started to sell off. And they had another rally, then a drum it, and then dropped it down. Now here we are again, and here we are again. So again, people are going to show you this. They're not going to show you stuff like this. Just remember, we are in a volatile market. What do you think it is? And to give credit where credit's due, I want to be totally transparent with everybody, is this. Germany did they did a great trade. And people are saying, nobody talks about Germany anymore. Well, tip of the hat to Germany for taking profits. And these are the lessons that I want to instill in people. There are rules underneath me. And these are the rules that I follow. You don't have to follow these, but it's worked out okay for me. Meaning the first rule, it's all gone. Meaning don't invest more than you can afford to lose, right? I think a lot of people get into this and they're like, oh, meme coins and this and altcoins and Bitcoin, and I'm going to put everything into it. If it makes you nervous, don't invest into it. And sometimes you just don't want to do anything. That's the rule number one. Second rule, everything's a scam until or otherwise. Third rule, don't leave things on exchanges. I've heard rumblings between us of things collapsing. So I just want to make sure that you guys understand that I don't talk about these rules to waste my breath. It's because we learned about things in the FTX, Voyager, Celsius, BlockFi days. When the macro risks are there and the margin calls are laid forth, it's important that you are in control of your finances and you don't rely on the exchanges to do the things they're supposed to do, which is not collapse, and make sure that your crypto is there. So make sure if your crypto is out there, follow the rules. Next thing is don't use leverage. I don't even want to look at who's getting liquidated. It's got to be brutal. And last one, take profits along the way. That was it. So Germany, great job. Germany, essentially, this was in July 21st. I don't know if you guys remember. They sold 50,000 of its Bitcoin, of their Bitcoin. And of course, this was actually before July. And people were laughing. They're like, you suckers, you shouldn't have done that. Which I was like, hey, if you got to take profits, I mean, looks like there's economic turmoil over there. And there's a website called Germany's Bitcoin Regret Meter. And, they're like, hey, I don't think it's right, though, because current Bitcoin prices, maybe it's 52,000, but they sold, the average sale for Bitcoin for Germany was 58,700. Say what you want. They could buy it all back and be in pretty good profit. So take profits along the way. Nobody ever went broke taking profits. It's why I tweet these things out. I tweeted out in May, told people I took profits. In March, I took a little profits too. Maybe I should have taken more, but I'm just saying, next time this comes around, lesson learned, everybody's happy. And then lastly, before we go into the little Q&A, I see a bunch of questions popping up. Recession. We talked about this last week. Recessions are not the dirty word that everybody thinks they are. If there's a recession, just remember that on average, we're looking at 10 months, but the market recovers first, then the economy. On average, you're looking at a 7-month recovery for the markets, 10 months for the economy to recover. And we even talked about this last year. Like I keep talking the same things over and over again. Don't worry. Nothing goes up in a straight line. Nothing goes down forever. Just stick around. I think you'll be happy. And like I said here, there's always a rise and there's always a fall. What's most important is the long-term trend is up. And that's it for today. So look, if you like today's video, give it a thumbs up, consider subscribing. It's not like YouTube's going to actually notify you, but that's what it is. So that's it for that piece. Now let's get into the little Q&A and we'll talk about what's a few $1 trillion lost among friends. Let's get a little Q&A and get out of here. All right. A says, recession smashing. Exactly. And then, recessions are here. Like I remember the first big recession I went through was in 2007. I thought, oh, this is the worst thing of all time. Actually, I really wasn't in the markets back then. I was mostly I was actually working for somebody else in the medical field. And I was a company called KCI, Wound Vacs. And I would go around and teach doctors and staff and things like that how to apply this thing. It's a great product. Like if you get a huge hole, like if you got shot, your arm got ripped off or something, you just put this, it's like a hydrophobic sponge. You put it over there, tape it up, go to the machine, hypergranulation. Worked really great. And I was like, wow, this is, I wasn't in the stock market. So I just heard from my friends, like, did you get murdered in the stock market? I'm like, no, not too bad, actually. So sometimes it's just better not to play around too much, I guess. Let's see. Taste My Grenade says, watch Germany buy back at 40K. Who knows? Maybe. Yeah, the Shaolin says, Germany has to buy it to finalize the trade. You can't give credit to Germany unless they buy the Bitcoin all back. Looks like they're doing pretty good. I don't know how many other traders told you to take some profits, but maybe you should have listened to Germany. Just kidding. Well, maybe. Yeah. At the ultimate. And it's true. Like Shaolin and Oleg, they say about it. But again, I think the long-term trend, I don't see Germany buying back. I don't see a lot of people saying, oh, that's what they should do. As time goes on, in the next year or so, when all this stuff passes over, which it usually does, we're going to look back and we're going to say, ha, Germany, I told you. And Germany's like, but it worked out pretty good for us in the beginning. So whatever. We'll see. Let's see. Yeah, exactly. Jaron says, MicroStrategy stream is deep fake. Please report it. Tons of, everything's a scam until proven otherwise. Rule number 3. What's the going rate for a kidney these days? That's a great question, actually. You don't need both of them. You know, you only need 15% functionality of your kidney to stay off dialysis. So not renal advice. I'm just telling you that you don't need both of them. They're redundant. So if you want to sell them, I think you get like 50,000. I'm just kidding. Actually, I think you do get 50,000. Let's see. I sold everything Friday. Wow, Glenn, good for you. I have very little dry powder left. Yeah, me too. I mean, I've been buying since 2022. Took a little bit of profits along the way. Those profits went for another property that we purchased, but hey, feeling good today. Hello, first-time chatter, but not a first-time viewer. Hello, Sid. This would be the day to sound off, right? Leverage. Your local, will we get below 40K? Nothing's off the table. That's for sure. And look, I'm not going to tell you like, this is the time to dump all your money into it. Could go lower. And for everybody who said like, oh, if everybody who says like, this is it, this is the bottom. I always love those videos. This is the bottom. Support's here. It's going to be, it's never going to break down. Could break down, but it's only going to break. Nobody knows. Let's see. Cow with a K. What's down? Well, I wonder how the S&P 500 is actually doing quite well. I mean, look at that bounce. See, this is how the market is just irrational, you know, and then it comes here and then it drops down a little bit. It'll rebound again. We'll see how it goes. I'm really not too worried. I don't see like, you know, a 80% drop or something crazy like that. Robbie, picking up Bitcoin. I picked up Bitcoin yesterday, which is a bummer. And I picked up Bitcoin this morning when I woke up. And I picked up some other stuff. I picked up Toncoin. I like Toncoin. I'm just finalizing the next video where I'm talking about how I believe it's going to be a super app and the top 13 apps you can use right now within Telegram and how the economy works by using Ton, Notcoin, a host of others, and to get paid in Ton for advertisements. So yeah, that's what I've been pretty much buying. Yeah. So that pretty much, I mean, there's other stuffs. Tyboy says, are you still in Meld? I still hold Meld. I just didn't re-up for a stake pool. We did it for a year. Thought it did pretty well. It didn't need us, so we just stopped doing the stake pool. Uncle Ricky. 2 days in a row. Any thoughts on the real estate market? When those rates go up, when the rates start, when the rates start getting cut, I should say, is when there's going to be a lot more buyers getting into real estate. But actually after this, I think the real estate market actually would do quite poorly because people are going to think to themselves, oh, there's a recession coming. I'll just wait for this to go down even further. So you probably get some good deals coming up pretty soon. I don't see why people would like get into the housing market right now when everybody's talking about recession, unless this is the key. Unless, which I think is going to happen, quantitative easing starts to really rev up. Even Presidente Bukele from El Salvador, his one tweet yesterday was just brr, which of course is money printer go brr. Actually, you know what would be great? Why don't we steal some stuff from Ben's website? Hopefully he doesn't find out. And take a look at the M2 money supply, shall we? And here we are. All right, so let's see. Charts. Let's hit on macro. M2. And if you'd like to take this sweet website for a spin, there's a link in the description. 10% off the first month, but most of this stuff is free, especially the DCA toolkit, which I use a lot. Holy smokes. Well, here's the M2 money supply. And you can see we do what we do. Only goes to June, though. I know they're printing more, though. And after this, they're going to start cutting rates and firing up that printer. Ooh, it's going to be good. But I will tell you, there's a price to pay at the end. If they fire up that printer and they're cutting rates, that means that inflation will at some point start to go up. So the next recession, because this might be minor, I don't know, is going to be pretty brutal because you can only do that for so long. Unless we go into World War III. Then all bets are off. Huh. That's not good. Anyone else can't log into their Fidelity account? Man, that would be bad if Fidelity goes belly up. It's pretty good. John says DCA until new all-time high. Doesn't have to be harder than that. That's pretty true. Yeah. Geopolitical issues, potential wars, bombings, raids. Yeah. There's always something negative to find. That's for sure. Ooh, I from Iran. My wife is going to kill me. Here's a little insider tip. Don't tell her. And don't say anything about it. It's easier to beg for forgiveness than ask for permission. This is not relationship advice. But I'll just tell you right now, if you want to start telling her that you guys are down like 40, 50%, she's going to kill you. Just wait. Just wait. Now, if you did something crazy like, hey, I just took out a second mortgage and now I really stuck, or I just took out poor Timmy's college fund and he's not going to be able to go to school, I can't help you with that. Yeah. Hello, George. Been here since the start of the show. Haven't watched in a while, I see. Good to see you. Nothing's really changed. It's the same thing. It's the same thing over and over again. Over and over again. It's always the same thing. And I was just journaling this. I was just journaling this morning, saying the same thing as I was writing things down. People are going to freak out. Got to explain it to them again. You need them to calm down. Nothing goes up forever. We go through these cycles, and it's just a natural progression of what it is. As long as they stick around, they'll do okay. The ones that don't see opportunities are the ones that are going to get hurt. And that's it. Yeah. Doug says, what about those Olympics? It's been pretty amazing stuff. My favorite one is, I forget where the guy's from, but the guy that won silver for, what is it, firearms shooting. And he's like all over. And he's just got his hand in his pocket and he's just firing off rounds. And everybody's got these nice, expensive like glasses and masks and things like that. He's just there. Uzi says, Rob, why'd you buy the dip before the stock market opened up? Weren't you fearful it may dip more? I'm not really fearful. The thing you have to ask yourself is this. What if the stock market, it opened up and it went straight up? You know, I don't know. Nobody knows. That's why it just happens without me thinking about it. It's just pretty much on autopilot. And so if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. What about tomorrow? What if it did go straight down and I missed it? Well, what's going to happen tomorrow? Nobody knows. That's why it's just, I just don't really care too much about the, where we're at, because I know I'll be buying throughout this whole thing. Oh, yeah. Rob, any thought about the Lockheed Martin stocks pumping, a hint for a war? Yeah, this has been some of the speculation that we're going into World War III because Lockheed Martin price is pumping. But I look at it like this. Maybe somebody knows something. Maybe someone knows there's no jack. Maybe they're looking and just going, well, we're seeing some economic turmoil globally. It would make sense that we start to make wars go in heavy. And if that's the case, then Lockheed Martin is, of course, massive in the industrial military complex. So I'm just going to invest into that. I don't know if anybody really thinks about it or has some insider information that says, oh, we're definitely going to war. I just think people are speculating right now. It makes sense. I got to tell you, correct me if I'm wrong here. If you had to I don't know if I should say this. I ought to say it. If you had an opportunity to wage war and defeat your opponent, would you wait for when they're at their strongest or when they're, not to say at their weakest, but when there is a lot of uncertainty in your opponent's house? Meaning, if I was whoever, right? China, Russia, or I was in the Middle East, if I wanted to attack a country that was an ally of America, I'd probably want to do it right around now because there is so much uncertainty about what's going on. We have a current sitting president who, in my personal opinion, has moderate dementia. Does anybody not agree with that? Do you think that he has all his faculties? He is a sitting president right now. That means that there's a lot of uncertainty. If it was me, and then of course there's a vice president who I don't really know if she's really calling the shots or the people behind her calling the shots. Nobody really knows. And there's not a presidential election until November, the first week in November, and then even when that's done, the next sitting president doesn't take an office until months later. I would attack right now. I'm not a geopolitician, but to me, it is like I would probably do that at this point. If I'm wrong, let me know. Yeah, maybe. Yeah. I have family members who suffer from that terrible, terrible illness. When I worked in healthcare, I saw it, just how it just takes away the light of an individual. It's awful. But unfortunately, when you have that person who's the president of the United States, you cannot have that. Okay. Spencer said, we told the people the bull run was over, but no one listened. Yeah. I disagree with the word moderate. I was just trying to be nice. I don't know. I mean, he knows his name. He knows the people around him. Look, I mean, when you got somebody who doesn't know who you are, and you don't know where they're at, I don't know. This isn't medical advice. We get way off topic. China was caught doping in the Olympics. Oh, here we go. The anti-doping agency said nothing to see here and threatened the U.S. with their Olympic bid for 2028 if they can investigate. No bribery here. Well, okay, I can get with that. Rusty Bot says, my phone is getting warm. People are freaking out. This is why I like doing these videos in the morning and getting these things done. I need you guys to do me a favor. Remind people of the rules. Not all the rules. You probably have your own rules, but just remind them. Go, look, recessions don't last forever. We're probably going to go into one. It's negative price action. Yeah, it's going to hurt. You can either do one of three things. You can sell into weakness, not recommended, but if you have to, you have to. You can do nothing and just sit around for things to turn around, which they usually do. Or you can start to potentially dollar cost average as things go down or sideways or up, I don't know. And just give them those options and just go, look, all the money is made when things start to bottom. Nobody gets crazy rich as things are like taken off to the moon and you're buying the tops. That's for suckers. We're not suckers. We've been here a little bit of time. So I'm just telling you, the people you're talking to, this is what I would do. And that's it. And just be calm. If you can be calm, it helps a lot. Hey, Martine, hi from Australia. I've been in crypto for less than 12 months. Wow. This is the biggest pullback I've been in. But I've been buying in the last few days. Not easy, but hoping it pays up. Martin, this is where you want to be, in my personal opinion. Again, this is, if you want to be like everybody else, just start buying tops and buying as things start to really, blow up. But the longer you're in the market, time in the market is more important than timing. Although if you can time it, it's great. So time in the market, I think you're doing just fine. You pour the milk before the cereal. I'm not a psychopath. No, you put the cereal in first and then it's milk. Let's see. Will Jerome call an emergency meeting before September? A lot of people are saying no, but he'll probably take a look at data. I think that he should cut rates, but there's no meeting in August. It's in September, so maybe. Yeah, hamster. Hamster game. So the token is supposed to launch sometimes like this week. So we'll see. This is a ton coin play. If Hamster Combat and their token launches and it's big in this environment, there's no stopping them. Yes, that's right, Thai boy. It's Turkey, I believe. Yes. The memes are hilarious. They're great. No, I have a team. I have an assistant and I have an individual, Arnardo, who helps me with research, and they're both indispensable. I wish I was back in Puerto Rico. It'd be nice to hit the beach today. Yeah, Lord, happy flash sale to yourself. Yeah, I remember that. 5th of August. Well, Bangladesh, I remember this was last year though. Bangladesh faced significant turmoil as Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina resigned amid massive protests and an army coup. There's always some kind of turmoil going on around the world. Yeah, unfortunately, my wife is, she keeps checking her portfolio every day. She's like, hey, what happened? I told you. She's like, yeah. She's like, so what should I do today? I'm like, you know what to do, baby. You know what to do. She's like, okay, I'll buy some. And that's pretty much it. Is it okay to report messages? Yes. I learned a lot from here. I just want to tell Rob I don't want to seem like a spammer either. Yeah, that's why we got wrenches. So if you see any kind of scammy type of messages, please wipe those people out. Or at least put them in timeout. Come on, Dan, you know we're heading towards war. We're always heading towards war. That's pretty much how it is. What? 53K. Wow. Let me see. Holy smokes, look at that. Well, it worked out for me pretty well. I buy some Bitcoin and it actually goes up. But you know what? Just stick around. It'll change. So Bitcoin's at 53,000. Slime's 124. Ethereum's 2,300. Yeah, we'll see. So, looks like the market is quite resilient-ish. And then down it goes. Oh, well. I am waiting. Never FOMO, guys. This is why DCA. What do we got? 52.5. Lord says, hey, Rob, any plans on doing cameos during your off time from the channel? If you guys don't remember, looks like I will be sticking around for a while, but I said that during the blow off top, and it's going to happen, right? That I'll be selling 80% of my crypto. Link in the description. Check out that video. It's in every single video that I do now in the description sites. And I said, once I sell that 80%, I'm going to do a video of it. I'm not going to be like, see ya. I'll do a video. I sold. And I'm not going to come back until the bear market, because everybody in YouTube world or Xverse or whatever, they only stick around, or they're only here for the bull, and they blip out in the bear, which kind of sucks. Nobody needs me in the bull market. Nobody, right? If you don't get the rules by now, sorry. In the bear market, people need somebody who's going to tell them, hey, this is the time to buy. Hey, this is the time to actually get in. Hey, don't think about like it's going to be like this forever. I need you to get your head in the game. I think that's when I'm going to come back. So during that time, will I make cameos? Yeah, I'll probably still, we might do NFA live still. Who knows? But there's another channel I want to start up that's a little bit more geared to what I'm doing these days. So yeah. My wife had to take my phone out of the bedroom last night. I slept like a baby. Great. That's what you want to do. Yes, Spencer, exactly. The bear is where you make money. Oh, no. This is the second person that said their Fidelity account is down. Let's hope they don't go out of business. Yeah. You know what I'd like to do? The 5 rule. These rules I have here. I'm going to get Tangem to put that on a card. Just these 5 rules. I'll put the 5 rules on a Tangem card, and that's what I'll sell. We'll see. Hey, Rob, do you think we'll hit the 100K by December? Anybody's guess. I can give you a price prediction if you want it, but I think everybody knows what it is. Holy smokes, Schwab is down too. Now remember, This is all hearsay. This is just people saying what they've experienced. I'm not saying that Schwab and Fidelity are going bankrupt, but saying it's three people now said they can't get in their accounts, which what are you going to do? The irrational don't panic. Focal point says, hey, rival market's down. Where's the money going? Where do you think it's going? To me, it's not like they take money out in one stock and put in another stock. Or they take it out of a crypto and then they put it into gold. Or they take it out of this and put it into T-bills. Some of that happens. I think what people usually do is they take the money out and they sit on the cash. They're like, oh, well, I need this for my mortgage payment. I need this in case some kind of health issue comes up. I need this cash to sit on as dry powder as the markets collapse or the housing market collapse. That's what's happening with the money. Cash is still king. I know people say, fiat is worthless. People still seem to want to use it. So I'm not going to say it's awful. In the long run, sure, all fiat collapses. Every single one throughout the entire history of the world. But in 5 years, it'll be okay. Now, this is a great question. Is Coinbase down yet? It wasn't down this morning. It was actually working. But if it did make it, I'd be surprised. I see, okay, I'm going to make a prediction. Coinbase will go down today. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. We'll see how it goes. Yeah, I'm surprised it ain't either. Let's see how long it can last. And if it does stay up, hey, that's a win for all of us. Yeah, Warren Buffett was right again. So people were, I think it was Lynn Alden, and she made a good point. She said, everybody talks about how much money that Berkshire Hathaway has as they're just sitting on it. She goes, but in the last week or so, as they unloaded Apple stock, 50% of all Apple stock, it just looks like that VIX chart that we showed. It's like up and to the right of how much cash they're sitting on. And if that's the case, probably waiting for a recession. It's not a crash until Coinbase goes down. Coinbase only goes down when the price goes up. Oh, no, wait. When people are all getting there to sell, a little good. Fidelity is good. There we go. See everybody? Oh, Coinbase is working fine. Whole night long, bro. Great. Peggy says, don't they put a halt on the stock market from sellers selling? Yeah, there's a circuit breaker, what do they call it? And if there's too much volatility, it just shuts down. And that's what actually happened in the, how do you say it? Nikkei, Nikkei, I don't know. And they shut down that market because the Japanese market fell so much. It was the largest sell-off, I want to say, in the last 52 years. So yeah, they had to shut that down for a bit. Too many people were selling, which I got to tell you, in my personal opinion, that's manipulation. Let it happen, baby. Let it happen. Yeah. If underwater, hold. If I have cash, DCA. Sounds pretty reasonable. Okay. Charles Schwab is still down. They're weeding out retail. Charles Schwab is still down. I don't know. Wow. It could close 2 or 3 times. Well, that's it. Look, everybody, that's it for today. So the lessons here are, it's going to be rough. We're going to see, is a sub 40K Bitcoin on the table? Sure. Could we see Bitcoin at 100K at the end of the year? Sure. Nobody really knows. Just remember the rules. And you can adopt them and use them as you see fit. But in my personal opinion, the reason why you see me right now, and I'm not like flipping out, and I talk the same way when the markets are massively up or when they're massively down. It's because I just follow the rules and I take the profits along the way, and I just look at things and say, well, this is a great opportunity. And then the only time I really get nervous is when things really blow up. And I'm like, okay, should I sell here or should I sell here? That's it. That's it for today. So look, like today's video, give it a thumbs up, consider subscribing. Everything we talk about is time sensitive. Again, like on the way out, subscribe would be great. That's it for today, and everybody, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Have a great rest of the day. Try to not look at your portfolio too much. And for God's sakes, don't tell your significant other. That's it. Thanks so much, everybody. See you on the next one. Adios.